جامعة حلب كلية الشريعة السنة الأولى كتاب اللغة الإنكليزية تقدمت مبادرة ضوء صوت ريم سروجي. يغطي هذا التسجيل من صفحة 182 حتى صفحة 194. B. Reading 2 Graphs. Look at the following 4 graphs. Titles, captions, and notes near a graph contain important information. Remember to study this information in order to interpret the graphs correctly. Then work with classmates to answer the questions below each graph. في مثل إحصائية، أول واحدة ل76%، الثانية لل15%، الثالثة لل20%، الرابعة لل84%. 76% have abolished death penalty for all crimes. 15% have abolished death penalty for most crimes except special circumstances. 20% have death penalty but haven't used it for 10 or more years. الرابعة اللي هي 84% have death penalty. Question number 1. When were these facts published? Question number 2. How many countries have not used the death penalty in recent times? Why do you think this is so? Question number 3. Are most of these countries for or against the death penalty? Explain. Question number 4. Can you see these facts to explain how the death penalty is used in a country you know well? In March 2002, Zogby International surveyed voters in Albany County, New York, with the following results as shown in graphs 2 and 3. Graph 2. Do you support or oppose capital punishment for murderers? 55% support, 42% oppose, 3% undecided. Source Zogby International, March 25, 2002. Graph number 3. Do you support capital punishment or life imprisonment with absolutely no chance of parole for murderers? 27%, 27% support capital punishment. 67% support life imprisonment with no parole. 600% يعني 6% undecided. Source Zogby International, March 25, 2002. Question number 5. Why did the number of voters who support capital punishment drop from 55% in graph 2 to 27% in graph 3? What conclusion can you make from these graphs? Graph number 4. Execution of the innocent in the United States. بين 1900 لل 1992 يعني 350 people convicted of capital crimes later found innocent. في عنا 23 had already been executed. 327 were released from death row. Source from In Spite of Innocence by Michael Radlett, 1994 as an Mystery USA website. Question number 7. What does this information show about the capital punishment system in the United States? Question number 8. Can anything be learned from this information? Explain. Linking readings 1 and 2. Writers often need to support their opinions with facts and data. Use information from the graphs in reading 2 to support the opinions below from the editorials in reading 1. Add a sentence or two about the data. Number 1. There is no reason why a killer, a destroyer of life, should live. Justice requires that each person respect the rights and freedom of every other person or be punished for not doing so. Pro. Number 2. If capital punishment is allowed, there always exists the possibility that an innocent person will be executed by mistake. When that happens, an even worse crime has been committed, the killing of an innocent person by the government. Number 3. The US government once followed the example of Germany Britain, France, and other nations that no longer exist. Since 1977, our society has been allowing capital punishment again. Pro or con? Focus on vocabulary. Question number 1. Some nouns refer to ideas or feelings. They refer to things that cannot be seen or touched, such as love and peace. These nouns are called abstract nouns. Look at the following nouns and mark the abstract nouns with A. Discuss your answer with the class. Number 1. Prison. 2. Friends. Number 3. Misunderstanding. Number 4. Anger. Number 5. Punishment. Number 6. Justice. Number 7. Family. Number 8. Food. Number 9. Citizenship. Number 10. Innocence. 11. Person. 12. Government. 13. Guilt. 14. Society. 15. Rights. Question number 2. When writers use abstract nouns, they can often use examples to help the reader understand more clearly what they mean. Match the examples on the left with the appropriate abstract nouns on the right. رح بلش من اليسار. A. Forgiveness. B. Cruelty. C. Innocence. D. Society. E. Citizenship. F. Guilt. G. Immigration. H. Punishment. I. Fairness. J. Crime. Number 1. Cutting off the hand of a person who steals. Number 2. A court has proved that someone is a murderer. Number 3. Deciding not to stay angry when someone has hurt you. Number 4. Considering a person innocent until proved guilty. Number 5. Choosing to do something that breaks the law. Number 6. Hurting an animal for no reason. Number 7. Carrying the passport of a particular country. Number 8. Relatives, friends, and neighbors. Number 9. A court has proof that someone did not rob a bank. Number 10. People moving from Mexico to California. Exercise number 3. In editorial writing, writers choose their words carefully. They want to present their opinions as strongly as possible so that the reader will agree with them. Look at the following pairs of sentences. Complete each sentence. B. By choosing one word to replace the underlined word in sentence A. How does the meaning change when you use a different word? Circle the strengths of the new meaning and discuss the variation in the meaning with the class. Number 1. A. A government is wrong when it kills تحت خط its citizens. B. Government is wrong when it فراغ its citizens. New meaning: weaker, stronger, neither. Number 2. Why should we keep a murderer alive? A murderer is underlined تحت خط. Why should we keep a فراغ alive? New meaning كمان: weaker, stronger, neither. Number 3. Life in prison is not always bad. Bad is underlined تحت خط. Life in prison is not always. في عنا fair, cruel. New meaning: weaker, stronger, neither. Number 4. A prisoner hopes to receive visits from the people who care about them. People who care about them from the people who care about them. People who care about them تحت خط. Prisoners hope to receive visits from their loved ones or relatives. New meaning: weaker, stronger, neither. Number 5. Men and women who follow the laws of their countries are usually good people. People تحت خط. Men and women who follow the laws of their country are usually good. Adults, citizens. New meaning: weaker, stronger, neither. 6. Immigrants are sometimes the victim of crime. Immigrants طبعا تحت خط. فراغ are sometimes the victims of crime. في عنا strangers, foreigners. كمان new meaning: weaker or stronger or neither. Number 7. Many people fear prison because they believe it will hurt their future. Hurt تحت خط. Many people fear prison because they believe it will longer neither. Number 8. The murder was done out of anger. Anger تحت خط. The murder was done out of passion, revenge, new meaning, weaker, stronger, neither. Exercise number 4. On a separate piece of paper, write one paragraph to answer the questions below. Use at least 5 of the words from the box in your response as well as information you learned in this unit. في عنا murder, forgive, cruel, innocent, justice, guilty, respect, revenge, rights, punishment, society, violent. Question number 1. What do you predict will happen in the future with murderers? Question number 2. Will punishment be more or less severe? 4. Focus on writing. A. Style. Sentence variety. Question number 1. Read the following passage. Look at the sentences carefully. How do they see similar? How are they different? Murder is totally unfair because the victims of murder are gone forever. Their hopes and plans have ended permanently, and the pleasures they enjoyed in life has been destroyed. They will never see their friends again and will never hear the voices of their parents, brothers and sisters. But the murderer is still alive. If we stop capital punishment, murderers will still be allowed to participate in life. Writers often use different sentences types to make their writing more interesting. The 3 basic sentence types are simple, compound, and complex. A simple sentence includes one subject and one verb. A simple sentence can also include a compound subject. This is a subject with 2 or more nouns. The victims are of murder. victims of murder هي subject, are gone verb forever. Their hopes subject and plans كمان subject have ended verb permanently. A compound sentence consists of 2 clause subject-verb combinations. They are often joined with coordinating conjunctions and but or so. A comma is used before the coordinating conjunction. I subject, believe verb in capital punishment, but my sister subject, doesn't verb. You subject, are verb either in favor of the death penalty or you subject are against are verb it. A complex sentence includes 2 clauses, independent and dependent. The independent clause IC is a complete sentence. It can stand alone. The dependent clause DC begins with a subordinating conjunction because, if, since, when, although. The dependent clause is an incomplete sentence. It cannot stand alone. Murder IC independent clause يعني is unfair because the victim هي dependent clause of murder are gone forever. A comma is used when the sentence begins with a dependent clause. It is not used when the sentence begins with an independent clause. If we stop capital punishment, DC dependent clause, murderers will still be allowed to participate in life, IC independent clause. Question number 2. The following sentences describe the life of a death row prisoner named Wayne Paulson. Combine the 2 sentences into one compound or complex sentence. Use coordinating conjunctions and but or so in compound sentence. Use subordinating conjunctions because it's since, when, although in complex sentences. Be sure to use subject pronouns where appropriate. Example A. Wayne Paulson reads books in prison. B. Wayne Paulson sometimes exercises. Or Wayne Paulson reads books in prison or he sometimes exercises. Number 1. Wayne Paulson was the kind of guy that was never noticed at school. B. Wayne Paulson wasn't the kind of guy that got into trouble. في عنا and. 2. The police came on this house and arrested Wayne for murder. His life has never been the same since. 3. Wayne was found guilty at the end of this trial. He was given the death penalty. في عنا because. Number 4. Wayne said that he is innocent. The jury didn't believe Wayne, but. Number 5. Wayne still remembers his life before jail. Wayne's life in jail is very different now, although. 6. Wayne's mother doesn't want him to feel lonely. She visits him almost every day, so. 7. Some prisoners get new trials. Some prisoners like Wayne are able to leave prison. في عنا if. Number 8. Wayne's lawyer visits him. Wayne asks about getting a new trial. When? Number 3. Read the following letter by American colleagues student taking a criminal justice class. On a separate piece of paper, rewrite the letter to use a variety of sentences, simple, compound, and complex. Make at least 5 changes and change the sentence structure as much as you like. This class right now. We've been discussing capital punishment. I have really been shocked by some of the statistics we've learned. My classmates have really been shocked by some of the statistics we've learned. Did you know that in 1998, only 4 countries accounted for 800% of all execution worldwide? And did you know that the country which carried out of the most executions of child criminals was the United States? It's true. The United States has executed 10 since 1990. The United States plans to continue to execute child criminals. I used to agree with capital punishment. I always thought that the fear of death penalty stopped some criminals. That is false. Here is a quote discovered. Research has failed to provide proof that execution stopped murderers from more than life imprisonment. But the fact that the most difficult for me to accept is that between 1900 and 1992, 350 criminals who were sentenced to death were later found to be innocent. 23 of those criminals were actually executed. That is a problem that always exists with capital punishment. Some of the prisoners are innocent. They get executed. There is no perfect way to find out if someone is guilty. I now disagree with capital punishment. What do you think? Your friend Katie. B. Grammar. Contrast present perfect and present perfect progressive. Read the following paragraphs taken from Life in Prison is Still Life. Why should Hitler live? And why do we kill people to show that killing people is wrong? There are 2 different verb tenses in both. Murder is totally unfair. The victims of murder are gone forever. Their hopes and plans have ended permanently, and the pleasures they enjoyed in life has been destroyed. They will never see their friends again and will never hear the voice of parents, brothers and sisters who cry. How could this have happened? But the murderer is still alive. Without capital punishment, murderers are all allowed to participate in and enjoy life. The US government once followed the example of Germany, Britain, France, and other nations that no longer execute their citizens. However, since 1977, our society has been allowed capital punishment again at a high cost. We cannot imagine the pain of family members who have been waiting for years for the government's decision to execute or not execute their loved ones. It also costs the taxpayer millions of dollars more to execute a criminal than to imprison that criminal for life. Prison is a better form of punishment because it protects society and punishes criminals by taking away their freedom. Present perfect and present perfect progressive. Number 1. We often use the present perfect to talk about an action that started in the past, continue into the present, and may continue in the future. She has visited him almost every day. Number 2. We often use the present perfect to indicate that an action is recently completed. Their hopes and plans have ended permanently. Completed action. Number 3. We often use the present perfect progressive to show that an action that began in the past is still continuing. We cannot imagine the pain of family members who have been waiting for years for the government's decision to execute or not execute their loved ones. Continuing action. Number 4. Non-action verbs such as or emotions, believe, wish, trust, and not used in the present perfect progressive. For most prisoners, life in prison has been difficult. Many prisoners have wished that they could be free. Number 5. You can use the present perfect and the present perfect progressive with the time expression for and since. Both forms are used with adverbs such as always and recently. However, since 1977, our society has been allowing capital punishment again. We cannot imagine the pain of family members who have been waiting for years for the government's decision to execute or no execute their loved ones. Exercise number 2. Read the passage which describes the life of a prisoner. Add the present perfect or the present perfect progressive forms of the verbs in parentheses. Wayne Paulson فراغ في عنا verb be in prison since 1992 for 3 years since 1992 for 3 years he فراغ بين قوسين wait for the government's decision whether or not to execute him. Lately he فراغ بين قوسين write letters because he wants to make sure that his loved ones understand that he is innocent. He فراغ بين قوسين عنا be very lonely in prison. Only a few people فراغ بين قوسين visit him but one person فراغ بين قوسين عنا come to see him nearly every day, his mother. She will visit him as long as he remains in prison because she فراغ في عنا always believe that her son is innocent. Wayne's mother فراغ في عنا بين قوسين tell everyone that her son is good citizen. She will continue to do this so often and she can because she فراغ في عنا love her son since the day he was born. Writing topics. Choose one of the following topics. Write 2 or 3 paragraphs using some of the vocabulary, grammar, and style that you learned in this unit. Number 1. Imagine that in your local area, capital punishment has been illegal for several years. Now the government plans to begin using it again. Write a letter to the editor of your local newspaper expressing your opinion of capital punishment. Number 2. Write a letter. Wayne Paulson, explain what you have learned about the questions of capital punishment. Give him some advice about what he might do in prison to make the best possible use of his time. Number 3. Discuss wherever or not children are published by society in a culture you know well. If so, what kinds of punishment are given? For example, are children sent to prison? Do you think it is a good idea to punish children? Number 4. At times, people who visit foreign countries have trouble with the law. When they are published, they sometimes receive stronger punishments than they would in their home countries. Do you believe that certain countries give punishments that are too strong? Research topics. Find out about a specific country and its laws relating to the death penalty. Below are some suggested places. Angola, Cambodia, Nepal, Poland, and Moldova are countries which have recently abolished the death penalty for either capital crimes or all crimes. Gambia, Papua New Guinea, and the Philippines previously abolished the death penalty but have reintroduced it. Australia, Finland, and Nicaragua do not have the death penalty for any crime. The United States, Bangladesh, Guatemala, China, Japan, and Uganda have capital punishment for capital crimes. History of its death penalty laws. Step 2. Answer these questions. During what period did the death penalty exist? Was it used for all crimes or was it used for only exceptional crimes such as wartime crimes? When was it abolished? What is the current situation? For example, does the death penalty still exist or has it been abolished? If it still exists in the law books, is it being used? Are there any plans to change the current death penalty laws? Note, France has abolished the death penalty, but survey shows that 500% of the citizens would support beginning it back. Add 3 questions of your own. Step 3. Work in small groups to discuss the information that you found. Write a 1 or 3 paragraph Report to explain what you learned from this field work. Then read your report to the class. You could also have your research published in the school newspaper. By step-by-step practice in the writing process, see Writing Activity Book Intermediate Unit 9. نهاية هذا التسجيل.